like it's just lit. Like women's basketball, the game, how far it's come, the excitement, the attention. Maybe I'll start with you, Kels, because Lord Jesus, your team and their fans,
Jesus,
they be getting up in everybody's business.
All right, it finally happened. And it wasn't just anyone who stepped up. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the Indiana Fever's most seasoned and respected leaders, had seen enough. After Chennedy Carter took yet another subtle jab at Caitlin Clark, Mitchell decided it was time to speak out. The line had been crossed, and silence was no longer an option.
Chennai she's a whole lot to take in. I mean, a little bit goes a long way. She's just really loud and really kind of obnoxious for lack of a better word. And I don't mean obnoxious like just people who are obnoxious and they're just insulting people all over the place and that kind of thing.
You know the type. Those remarks wrapped in sarcasm, disguised as jokes, but meant to sting. Chennedy Carter led with that familiar tone, but this time, Kelsey Mitchell wasn't having it. There was no fake laughter, no brushing it off. She answered, and it wasn't some polished PR statement. It was direct. It was real. Mitchell stood tall, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for every player in that Fever locker room who's been pulled into the spotlight, only to have their character and commitment unfairly challenged.
Lord Jesus, your team and their fans,
Jesus,
they be getting up in everybody's business.
Hey, wait. I just noticed that. Your team and their fans, they be getting up in everybody's business. So not just the fans, but it's a dig on the team.
Kelsey Mitchell wasn't just offering a routine show of support. She came with fire, precision, and a message that hit hard. Her words left no room for doubt. This goes way beyond Caitlin Clark. You don't take shots at the Indiana Fever family, and you absolutely don't come for the fans who've been showing up and showing love. And now, that moment is going viral for all the right reasons.
Starting with you, Kels, and then going to B and Nneka, how have you guys experienced? Is there like a moment that you think of when it comes to the explosion of the game and how it has changed the game?
It all began during a media segment when Chennedy Carter dropped one of her signature, half-joking jabs. With a sly grin, she quipped, "Your squad and their supporters are getting up in everyone's business. Lord Jesus." It sounded lighthearted on the surface, but the undertone was sharp. Just enough shade to stir the pot, and it didn't slip past anyone. It was a not-so-subtle shot, aimed at downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact, while throwing some heat at the passionate Indiana Fever fan base. Let's just say it struck a nerve, and the response came quick.
Notice how the question was phrased. Lord Jesus, your fans. Once again, pushing the narrative that there's something wrong with Indiana Fever fans. I don't like that has become the accepted belief about the Fever fans. But Kelsey Mitchell is a professional, and before long, well, she's going to kind of put them in their place in a way they didn't like, I'm sure.
But here's the reality. Fever fans are showing up in record numbers. Caitlin Clark has brought an electric energy to Indiana and sparked national attention that's lifted the entire WNBA. She's not just changing the game for the Fever. She's pushing the league forward. Still, Chi chose to paint that momentum as a problem instead of progress. Her comment wasn't just some offhand joke. It was a subtle shot. The message between the lines, that Indiana and its fans are too loud, too confident, and too much for the league to handle. Let's call it what it was. Not a balanced take, but a quiet attempt to revive the tired claim that Caitlin's rise is somehow bad for women's basketball. That's when Kelsey Mitchell stepped in. She had heard enough, and she wasn't going to let that narrative slide.
Oh man, I think I've seen both sides of it. From one, like being on a team with like Caitlin and knowing that some of the stuff and the wave that she created for like, as you know, where the game is and what she's been a part of, like as far as this process.
Kelsey didn't flinch when it was her moment to speak. She was calm, measured, even soft-spoken, but every word carried a quiet intensity that couldn't be ignored. She didn't resort to jabs or theatrics. She didn't need to. Just the truth, delivered with precision, and it landed with impact. No drama, no digs. Just straight-up leadership, the kind that doesn't just stand up for a teammate. It sets the standard for the whole team.
I've seen so much of it, and so I think for me lately was the shift in moments in Indiana, period, as far as like the arena, where we started, and B was my vet, kinda, right? Kinda.
We up there, sis. We up there.
She was a fever girl first, and so she also saw, and you know, she's a vet too. They've seen what Indiana was, and I think now where it's at now, the big moment is seeing the shift and being a part of it from a standpoint that I know where Indiana was, and so to see the cultivation of it, you just grow to appreciate the process and, you know, the growth in which the game is going.
When the moment came, Kelsey didn't hesitate. She stayed composed, almost quiet, but her words carried a razor-sharp edge that sliced through all the noise. There was no need for a clapback or personal digs. She simply spoke the truth, and it hit like a freight train. No theatrics, no shade, just real, unfiltered honesty that spoke louder than any attention-grabbing soundbite ever could.
There's the face. There's the face again. Okay? Now, let me get closer so you can see my face better. There's the face again. She's asking about the explosion of women's basketball, and Kelsey Mitchell doesn't waste any time to mention Caitlin Clark and what she has created. It's not what Janae wants to hear. It's not what the media, ESPN media, the WNBA, the old guard, it's not what they want to hear, because they're continuing to tell us that it's not Caitlin Clark who has created anything in the league.